Hi there friends, if you're new to my channel, my name's Nicole and I'm here with two theater reviews for you today. One of the Royal Shakespeare Company production of Queen Anne at the Theatre Royal Haymarket, and then of Venus and Fur, also at the Theatre Royal Haymarket, which is why I've paired them together today, also because they are both plays, so I thought that perhaps they were a good match to put in a video together. If you're wondering why I'm doing 2 reviews per video, it's because I've seen 8 shows already while I've been in London, and I wanted to be able to get through some videos a little bit quicker, so I'm pairing some shows that seem to go together well, and hopefully eventually I'll be doing just reviews of 1 show each. So I do have the 2 programs here. This one's signed by Natalie Dormer and David Oakes, to help me if I need to look up any cast member names while I'm doing this review. I want to start by talking about the Royal Shakespeare Company production of Queen Anne, which I absolutely adored. I saw it actually on its closing night, which was a kind of cool experience, and I was so blown away. Shout out so much to my friend Corinne, who recommended that I go see it. They did youth, or I think it was like student day seats for just £5, and I actually was seated in row L of the stalls, which was a fantastic seat. Also, I have to say, the Theatre Royal Haymarket is probably my second favorite theatre in all of London, second only to the Queen's Theatre, which is my favorite theatre in the world. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous theatre, both on the outside and the inside, and if you have a chance to see a show there, I highly recommend it. So, Queen Anne, you can see here on the program, is about Queen Anne, who was the successor to William and Mary. If you're familiar with the British monarchy, she is known for having many pregnancies, many of which resulted in miscarriages, stillbirths, or children who died at a very young age. She did have a son who lived to the age of, I believe, 11 before he died. But so it's a really tragic story actually about her life. I actually did go to Kensington Palace recently and got to see the rooms that she lived in and where much of this show is set, which was a fantastic experience. Now, Queen Anne in this is played by Emma Coniffy, I believe is how you say her name. I could be wrong on that. I'm really sorry. And it really revolves around her relationship with Sarah Churchill, one of her ladies, played by Romola Gari. I'm probably saying that wrong as well, but she's well known for a lot of TV work, and she played Emma in the BBC adaptation, which was so cool to get to then see her on stage. Now, it's really based around the true story of their relation. My lights just blinked. Queen Anne, are you here? It's really based around the true story of their relationship. They were really close friends before they had a falling out, largely over politics. Sarah Churchill was a woman of the court. Her husband was a really important and eventually head of the army, and she really tried to use her influence over the Queen to get her own political gains, basically, and to move people into places that she wanted them, which I guess there's something to be said for that. And she is portrayed in such an interesting way. I really like the piece in that there's no clear villain in it, but they kind of show a lot of different sides of it. Queen Anne is kind of a tragic figure in both history and the show, in that she is so isolated by being the queen, because it means that everyone but maybe her husband wants something from her. I really enjoyed the relationship between her and her husband, who, let me find his name. Her husband was Prince George of Denmark, and he was played by Hywel Morgan. I thought that they had a really lovely chemistry and showed a really nice relationship. I can't say good enough things about the show itself. I'm typically much more into musicals than plays. My experiences with plays in the past haven't been the best. If you've read my blog, you may know how much I hated the Crucible production that I saw a couple summers back in New York, but this is the first play I think that I really fell in love with. I kind of want to buy the script of it actually so I can read it again, because it was so witty. They actually used some music in it in such a cool way. They used it to show the satire going on by the politicians, mostly of the opposite party from who was in power, which I thought was really cool. And I just thought that it was a fabulous, fabulous performance. I love women-centered pieces. I love when shows really show off an actress, especially an older one. So I thought that this was just a fantastic show. I also have to give a shout out to the costumes, which you can see some of here, which were just mind-blowingly beautiful. These costumes are so gorgeous and really made the piece. It was a nice use of the theater. Gorgeous sets as well. As you can tell, I would give this a 5 stars out of 5, 10 out of 10 if I couldn't go over. I wish that this production had run longer, that I'd been here sooner into its run, because I definitely would have gone back to see it at least 2 or 3 more times. But good things cannot last forever, especially when there are more good things to come. So earlier this week I saw the Theatre Royal Haymarket production of Venus in Fur, starring Natalie Dormer and David Oakes. I was lucky enough to win lottery tickets, which are just £15. They also have £15 day seats at the theater, so it's really nice in that you can see it inexpensively. And Natalie Dormer has been my favorite actress on television and film for years now, since I was in my early teens, I think. She obviously portrayed an incredible Anne Boleyn in The Tudors. She's done movies from having a smaller part in Captain America and the Hunger Games series to things like The Scandalous Lady W, and she's really well known for her role in Game of Thrones. And David Oakes also, I love his work. He was in Pillars of the Earth, he was in The Borgias as Juan Borgia, and he also played Prince Ernest in the series Victoria, which I loved. I thought he portrayed Ernest so well and really brought a depth and a humanity you don't typically see in representations of him in the media. So I am huge fans of both of them, so getting to see them live and getting to meet them afterwards was such an incredible experience. The play itself is really interesting. It's about a playwright and an actress who are doing kind of a reading, an audition of sorts for this play that he's written based on the novel Venus in Fur, which is, I don't know that much about it, but it's a German novel from the 1870s, which is seen as kind of a text of S&M. It's got some interesting sexual content in it. So you kind of, the play itself goes between them reading, in which they're both employing British accents to kind of, which is really nice actually, because it differentiates them acting the parts of the play in which they kind of inhabit those characters versus them as the playwright and the actress in which they have New York accents. Natalie Dormer does a brilliant kind of almost Jersey accent, but so in some ways it feels like they're each playing 2 parts, but they were absolutely brilliant. I really admired how they could switch between them so effortlessly, because that's not simple. And my light has gone out. That's what was happening. Sorry if you could see my light flickering. I apparently am going to need to find out how to get them to give me a new light bulb, so that's interesting. But I really enjoyed the play itself. I think it's a really interesting piece for actors to get to play around in. I think that Natalie and David both are electrifying in their performances. They have beautiful chemistry together on stage, and the costumes and the set pieces also are really cool. I think it works really well in the venue, and I basically don't have good enough things to say. I did get to meet Natalie Dormer and David Oakes afterwards, who were both so lovely. The stage tour was actually really cool because there were quite a few people there, but it was so British, it was so orderly and quiet, and they came out and got to actually talk to everyone for several minutes. I talked to David Oakes about him being in the Borgias, because he actually has a line in the show where he references the Borgias, like as the historical figures, which I thought was really funny. But he was so lovely. He signed out everyone's autographs to them personally, which I thought was such a nice touch. And Natalie Dormer also came out, and it was raining, but she still talked to every person and fought through pens not working, which was so lovely of her. And it was so cool to get to tell her how long I've admired her work. And I really appreciated that they both did that, because, you know, they don't have to, and a lot of actors wouldn't, especially in the rain. But I cannot recommend Venus in Fur enough. Unfortunately, you guys can't see Queen Anne because it is already closed, although there is a movie in the works, so definitely keep an eye for more announcements on that, and I'm sure I will mention it on my channel and my blog and my social media whenever more developments come out with that. But if you are in London, if you can get to London, definitely try and see Venus in Fur. You can get fairly inexpensive tickets through day seating, Today Tix, or winning the lottery. I definitely will be going back, and I think it's an experience not to be missed. I think, for one thing, you just have to take advantage of actors like Natalie Dormer and David Oakes, who have a background in both theater, film, and television, being on the stage. And also, even if I had no idea who they were going in, I would still have thoroughly enjoyed it and been very impressed. If you guys like this, don't forget to give it a thumbs up so I'll know to film more theater reviews. And if you want to see more theater content and more London vlogs and things like that, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the little bell icon because that'll send you notifications for whenever I upload. Let me know if you guys have seen anything recently that you guys have really liked, or if you've ever seen one of these shows that I talked about today. I have more reviews already in the works, but if there's something particular that you'd like me to see and review, I can definitely try and do that if there's a way to get an inexpensive ticket to it. So basically talk to me in the comments about theater. That's what I'm here for. Also, you can tweet me or message me on Instagram. So I'm at NicoleAckman16 on both of those. If you'd like to see written reviews of these, I have a blog, which is www.flowercrownsandrevolutionaries.blogspot.com. And I also have a blog where I talk about my kind of day-to-day experience living here in London for the year, which is www.sailingoffToLondon.wordpress.com. So make sure you check out all those things. I'll also have links to them down in the description box below. And other than that, I'll see you next week, hopefully with some more theater content. Bye! Also, if you're wondering, yes, I filmed this at the same time as I filmed my Hamlet and Much Ado review. That's why I'm wearing the same clothes. I don't only own one sweater. Bye.